Good morning and welcome to the June issue of Paul's Yard Walk. As you recall from last month, last show, we learned that if you have a garden that's composed mostly of native plants, they'll pretty much take care of themselves. And if you have shrubs and perennials, other than the fact that they could get buried by weeds, there's not a whole lot of work you need to do, at least in the springtime. I thought we'd go around the yard today and see what's happening. I've got some gloves here I'm going to use to pull some of the thornier weeds and do a little trimming, and also some watering. It's pretty dry right now, and we're not supposed to have any rain. We haven't had any rain for a couple of weeks, and we're not supposed to have any now for a while. So most of the native plants take care of themselves, but once in a while, either plants that you've just planted, new ones, need some supplemental watering, or just some of the shrubs that are in the bright sun once a week or so need a little supplemental watering. So that's what I'm going to do today. So let's get started. This is a native mock orange, currently in bloom. It has, I don't know if it's coming across, I'll take a close-up here in a second. Very pretty, slightly fragrant white flowers. But it's a Northwest native plant, and it's quite big. I mean, this one here is over 6 feet tall, and it's not fully grown. I'll cut some of the canes back. So here we have California lilac. It's in full bloom. And yesterday, there's only a little early yet, it's a little chilly, but yesterday there was, I'd probably say 20 bees working this bush. They moved out here from the columbines because the columbines are almost done. And there's both the large and the native bumblebees, and then there were smaller honeybees, like the one we're seeing there. Looks like a honeybee. And there were some different colored bees too, so there's different species of bee here. I don't think I can catch it with the camera. There's a big blue dragonfly that keeps working, making his rounds, going through here. Not really too sure where the dragonflies come from. We don't have any streams here, so, and they need water to hatch, so I'm not really sure where the dragonflies come from, but I have some here every year in the front yard. Happy to see them while we're out here. Careful not to step on any of the bees that are working here. The daylilies haven't quite started yet. They're getting close. But here's that lilac. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This bush is almost humming. There's so many bees on it. Holy cow. They're really working this. This is like the main thing that's blooming right now, I guess. My goodness. Last fall I talked about these 3 little bushes that I had planted. They're new. I've only partly weeded them. They still got a lot of weeds, but they had some nice little pretty white flowers. They're pretty much done. Pretty much done now. Maybe you can see kind of there what they looked like. And they've perhaps doubled in height. The middle one perhaps did. So we'll check back in with these next fall, see how big they got this summer. Peony here is just starting to bloom. Looks like it's going to be kind of pretty this year. Just opening up. Just have the one peony in the yard. We used to have a couple, but just leave the one here. It comes back every year. catmint is blooming. I have a couple of different catmints. I've got this batch here, and then over there on the other side of the peony, there's a little batch up there. Here's a 9-bark, the little guy. I just planted him last year. He's in full bloom right now. That's a native plant. This is that filbert that I planted this year, and he's survived the transplant quite nicely. I'm going to give him a drink of water here in a minute. This is a little California lilac I transplanted last year. This one, there's a bumblebee. There's a native bumblebee working it right now. Actually, there's a couple. I was going to say, this one has fewer blooms than the other shrub, but they found it too. There's a couple bumblebees working it right now. And then here's the other one. This one, for some reason, this one hasn't bloomed yet. It's just starting to bloom. Huh. You know, they're right in between the two that are in full bloom. And there he is, just getting a start. We've got the foxgloves are starting to bloom. These are some we looked at last month. I just saw a bee crawl in one of those flowers. One of the advantages to planting native plants is that the pollinators are attuned to them. For example, if I walked up on the porch right now where I've got a couple of geraniums in a pot, there's no pollinators on those geraniums. They don't care about those. But you come out here with the foxgloves and the California lilac and some of the other native plants out here, and you'll see lots of pollinators. Same thing if you want butterflies in your yard, plant native plants, because the caterpillars aren't set up to go after the non-native species. I'm going to throw that hose up in there. There we go. But here's some nice, pretty lavender foxgloves with some bees going in and out of them. Right here over the rock wall. This is a oh shoot, I'm going to forget the name. It's a creeping version of a commonly used landscaping evergreen, and it's got white blossoms, and the bees are working it too right now. It's like Cotoneaster, that's what it is. Cotoneaster, and it's a creeping version. I've got quite a few of them here that I have planted over the rock walls. Early June, feels like summer. Warm, sunny. Can't hardly beat the weather, except that some of my plants kind of wish it was. Let's go see what this guy up here. I've got a lot of daisies here that have just gone wild. Yeah, I can smell this. It's fragrant. I don't remember the name of it, but it's got some really interesting, unusual blooms, and it's kind of here in the shelter of the western hemlock, which we planted as a twig, and it's getting quite big. Western hemlock is one of the 3 common species. Since the last time, too, I dug out the pyracanthus, which was getting buried here, and I trimmed off the dead leaves, and it's got some blossom starting, so hopefully it'll get some new growth this year, because it had a rough winter, and then I let this shrub here get a little bit too big around it. So, well, I think that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and close off here. So next time I do a show, I'm sort of expecting, unless we get a lot of rain, I'm sort of expecting this area to be nice and brown. The lawn, I have to let the lawn go dormant every year and just water the shrubs. So that's what I expect to happen this year. We'll